From moment to moment stands the unequal temper of the heroic kind, strong in will to strive and seek of the luminous mind. Saved earth and heaven, the long recite of the golden time, the poignant signal that illumes the gazelle mind. The human dignity lies in the thoughts that travel the interim line. Awakened the kingdom of morals, the self-mastery of the formative fine, where plumage arises with the cream of foldings in the realm of divine. I hope you enjoy.
Is by Carl from Acton. He's going to talk about the freeman, which means freedom from law. I hope you enjoy this talk.
Law. Now, as most of you know now, that we're really oppressed in this country now. Our freedoms are taken away from us, and we have very little rights, or we believe we have very little rights. Now, what's happened is all of us here are in a scam. This is called legal fiction. Now, legal fiction, you might wonder, what is that? That would be parking tickets, council tax, income tax, driving licence, points on your driving licence. Any acts of law like this are totally unlawful. Now, they are legal, but they are unlawful. There's a difference between legal and unlawful. And the only difference between the two is a contract. And this contract is called legal fiction. Now, what happened when you were born? Your parents signed you to a birth registry, and you were given a birth certificate, and that was your birth name. Now, what in fact that is a contract. It's actually a legal binding contract which makes you liable for all the acts of laws and statutes of laws set down by Parliament. Now, the only laws in existence today is common law, and under common law there are 3 laws, and they're very simple. You don't damage anyone's property, you don't steal anything, and you don't hurt anyone. That's the only laws in existence today under common law. All other laws are completely and utterly irrelevant. And if you want, you can search this online. There's many websites now, freeing people, making people aware of what's going on. And when you wake up to this, you no longer have to pay council tax, TV licence, you no longer have to get speeding tickets, parking fines. You don't have to pay any of it at all whatsoever. Now, what happens is when you get filled in, when you get a form or you get a speeding fine, it's always addressed to your name. But in reality, your name is legal fiction. Now, you might find this a bit hard to comprehend, but your birth certificate is legal fiction. So if you revert to your original name, your common law name, in my case, my legal fiction name is Carl Acton. but my real name under common law is Carl of the Acton family surname. Now, if you revert back to your common law title, what then happens is you no longer become accountable for things like parking tickets and speeding fines, anything to do with forms and documents, insurances, any of these kind of governmental traps that take away your money and control you. You don't actually have to apply for these or be a part of it anymore. Now, you'll probably realise if you go into something like a court or some official building, they always say to you, what is your name? And when you give your name, you are giving yourself to them. You are accepting your contract. This is a language called legalese. Lawyers know it well, although they're not taught the freedoms of common law. They're only taught how to process you through the system. They're not taught about what's really going on. Now, when you give your name, you're giving them authority over you, which means you're accepting what they say. So if you go into a court, for example, and you've got a defective tyre, if you go into the dock and you give your name, what happens is they automatically control you and then they just find you guilty and they give you a fine. But if you don't give your name to the judge, they cannot impose a fine on you and they cannot make you guilty, and the case is dismissed. It's that simple. All it is giving your name. And this applies to police officers, police as well. If the police stop you and they try to, the first thing they'll do, they'll ask you your name. And if you give your name as your birth registry name, then you are accepting their power over you. But if you say, in my case, I am Carl of the Acton family surname, and you do not give them your date of